Zanondani, Electro Ninja here, and welcome to the plot of the Miraculous New York special. Now, this is not going to just be the plot, this is also going to be covering the cameos for this whole series, for the New York special, and what could be there. Obviously, some of the cameos will be from the comic, as well as some of them will be from other shows from from Zag. The most important ones that we know of that will be in there are Ghost Force and Pixie Girl. However, I wouldn't put it past them to actually include a lot more of these guys, such as Power Players, Rose, maybe. Melody is actually a pretty easy option, and so on and so forth. Obviously, certain characters like Denver, Gaia Jin, a few others aren't going to actually happen. I don't remember all of the ones that were in there, that where exactly everyone is, and Zack Storm isn't going to be there, but all of these are technically possible. However, most of these are going to be during the battle scenario rather than just throughout the episode in general. So the first thing that needs to be thought of is, when does this take place and how long is this going to take place? Well, the first thing to note is that Ladybug and Cat Noir are going to be going there in between season 3 and season 4. This could mean that these episodes or these specials are taking place during the summer. Basically, over the summer, Ladybug and Cat Noir, for some reason, there's just not that many people that are getting into chaos and causing a lot of trouble, meaning that Marinette feels a little bit more comfortable with the idea of her going to New York for a brief little visit with Adrian and Gabriel. But on top of that, other characters will be coming with them, such as Luca and Kagami. And more than likely, there will also be a few other characters going with them as well. Maybe Alia, maybe Nino, maybe Chloe and her family, and also possibly Max. Uh, I have my reasons, but I'm not 100% certain. There's a few things that go into that, but it really depends. Um, but because of the fact that Max and his mom are kind of getting prepped for the fact that she is going to be going to space soon, I just have a feeling that they're going to be doing something there before too long. So, yeah. Um, but that's not the biggest thing. For whatever reason, all of these characters are going to be going there, most likely for some fashion festival. Uh, Chloe's mom, as well as Gabriel, have to be there because they're the biggest fashion creators, and Adrian is going because of the fact that he needs to be there, um, and so on and so forth. But before they actually go, there's going to be a brief little talk with Ladybug and Cat Noir where they're going to be saying, I need to go to New York for a brief bit. I'll be taking, Ladybug will be saying something like, I have to go somewhere really for a little while. Don't worry, I will have the Horse Miraculous in case there is an issue. And or Cat Noir is going to be like, you're kidding, right? I'm going somewhere too during this time. So maybe they'll give out some brief Miraculouses, or they'll call Bunnix. Bunnix just happens to be there, and she'll be like, no one really needs to be here. Hawkmoth isn't gonna be there either. Just, I don't think you guys really need to worry. The police can handle things for a few days. Don't worry about it. But still bring the Horse Miraculous in case you really feel like you have to head back. And different things like that. It really depends on what they're going to do, but the point is that they're all going to be going to New York. They arrive in New York, and things are pretty simple. They're just going to the hotel when suddenly Adrian and his dad, who are probably paying for this whole thing, along with maybe Kagami's mother, and maybe Chloe's family as well. But they all are taking Marinette and Luca, as well as anyone else who's coming, to some high-end hotel that is really expensive. And then you just see these two people that, unless you've read the comic book, you don't recognize. But Adrian will recognize them and just be like, oh, fudge. And will just cover his face. As in, maybe he's like sneezing or whatever reason, he's just trying to avoid their gaze. And it's because of the fact that he happened to be there in the comic. There's a brief moment in the comic where these two extremely rich people are meet Adrian for a brief moment and are just so much of jackasses to him because of the fact that he's wearing a swimsuit, because he was just doing the modeling for a swimsuit, and yeah, he gets in a whole bunch of trouble. And their chauffeur is the only one who actually gives him anything to eat, and it's actually kind of funny. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it would be a funny little cameo to just see them, and they're like, oh, fudge, he's Adrian Agreste, the son of Gabriel Agreste. And he goes over to them and says, I won't say anything if you don't. And they say, And it's just a really quick thing that only we see and Adrian does. But no one else realizes it. Kagami doesn't realize it. Gabriel doesn't realize it. No one realizes it. And they just go into their rooms. It's really nice. And a little bit later, they go out on the town, just the kids. And they're just going to have some fun for whatever reason. And then suddenly, as they're walking down the road, they see this group of, gangsters, or whatever you want to call them. They're not really... I don't know what to call these kids. But there's these kids in the comics that are also just like, what? As you can see, there's a whole little scenario with Marinette meeting up with these guys, and it's just the funniest little clip where these characters are just... They look like they're just gangsters, and they are going to cause a lot of trouble, but in actuality, they're saving an entire, hospital. And it's honestly one of the greatest moments in the entire, comic book. And they start seeing these characters, and everyone else is just kind of like, oh, fudge. Those guys look dangerous, and blah, blah, blah. And Marinette covers her face and is like, they're not dangerous, they're actually really great people. And she waves to them, and they come running and are just like, oh my gosh, look, it's so good to see you. We haven't seen you since the trash kraken. We thought you might have gotten hurt or something. And it's honestly just a great little moment, and everyone's kind of confused about what's going on, because no one really knows what the heck they're talking about, except for Adrian, who's like, trash kraken? Wait, you were here? Wait. What? And most of the other people probably have no idea what's going on, unless Alya is there, and then she's like, wait, how could you have been here in the trash kraken situation, or something like that? And it's honestly just gonna be a weird little thing, and and Marinette is just gonna be like saying something like, okay, it's really complicated, and I can't really get into it right now. We'll have to talk sometime, since we're gonna be here for a few weeks, and we'll talk about it at some point. It was good to see you. They walk on, and it's basically just a little bit of a confirmation to say, hey, the comic book happened. maybe they'll see the little girl, I forget what her name is, as well as her dad at some point, and little things like that. It's basically just little bits and pieces, just sprinkling in the comic books. Maybe at some point they'll run into certain characters like um, the like the characters from Power Players are just walking by and they're like, and they bump into each other, and it's no big deal because they're not going to be fighting in the actual thing, and so on and so forth. There's a few other things. They go into the fashion thing. There's a whole show. Maybe Melody shows. Maybe Melody shows up. Rose, so on and so forth. A few other characters just show up briefly, not really having too much to do with them, as many of these characters won't actually be considered the superheroes of this whole situation. But then suddenly, a fashion model gets really messed up and has some weird issue where they just get really pissed off and they run out of the building. Obviously, Hawkmoth takes advantage of this situation and akumatizes the crap out of them. In desperation, the Marinette and Adrian show up and as Ladybug and Cat Noir and are like, "Wait, you're here in New York? We can't talk about this. This is really important. Let's just hope that we're not here for the same reason." And then they go off to fight in the battle. And this is mostly because of the fact that they actually know for a fact who everyone is except for each other and Gabriel and Natalie. Everyone else is kind of unknowns at this moment to them. Everyone else is pretty obvious if they're actually from France. So they both go into this battle, fight off the villain, but in the same instance, while they're fighting this villain, different heroes from around the place start showing up. Characters from the comics, like Majestia, who... It would honestly be funny if, after the battle, Marinette just is like, "Hey, my friend is going to be really ecstatic if I come back with a picture of you. Can I just take a quick little picture of you and then I'll go." Afterwards. And there's a lot of different things like that. A few different characters show up. All of the heroes from New York that we saw in the comics. But then other characters that we haven't seen yet will start showing up, such as Pixie Girl, the Ghost Force. I'm honestly unsure, but I feel like some of these others would probably also show up. Obviously, Tales of Faragon, that is something from the past, and that is not going to actually connect. And many of these other things that are also in this group are going to be talked about in a later date, such as Abominable, Kabushi, and I don't know. But like Superstars, Melody, Pixie Girl, Rose, maybe, depending on if they actually came over, and Power Players and Ghost Force, those ones are obviously going to show up, at least in some degree. Obviously, Zack Storm will never show up because of the fact that they're in a different technical universe, so, yeah. And I kind of feel like Cosmic Wrestle, whatever that is, might also happen because of the fact that America is more known for wrestling. So, yeah, but I honestly have no idea what that show is, so, yeah. Different things like that. Lots of different characters, but specifically Pixie Girl and Ghost Force, they show up and they help out with the whole battle situation. Eventually, the group defeats the akumatized villain, and possibly a Send a Monster as well, just knowing the fact that this is going to be happening. And with all of that taken care of, Ladybug and Cat Noir return to the place, and they say, and as they're, before they actually get cleaned, they change into Marinette and Adrian, they say afterwards, "Okay, tonight, after everyone in your group has gone to bed, meet me at such and such location, and we're going to talk. We're going to try and figure something out, because this could be way worse than they actually think. Because in this case, if they don't know each other's identities, then this could actually, even if they don't necessarily have to figure out each other's identities in this moment, but in certain aspects, they have to know something about what's going on, and they have to know what group they're in, or why they came to New York. And even if they do figure out each other's identities, I'm not going to be too worried about it. But it would be awesome, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be kept in there. There's going to be something that causes them to forget. And basically, they're going to have to discuss, okay, why in the world was Hawkmoth here? And they'll have to come up with it. They may figure out that Hawkmoth is Gabriel Agreste, because he is literally the only adult guy who would have been with them, who would have come from Paris. No one else came from Paris recently. It doesn't make sense. So, I don't know. There's a whole situation there. But it's really complicated. It's really, knowing what is going to happen is going to be a challenge. But if for some reason all of this doesn't actually happen the way that I'm thinking, it would most likely just be a similar situation to what happened in Trash Kraken, where Doorman summons them and they have to fight off some big bad villain. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what they decide to do, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the whole situation. The simple fact of the matter is that this is called United Heroes, so that leads me to believe that this is going to be mostly focusing on the Zag Heroes brand and not really anything else, which is kind of interesting because in that case, it's quite possible that Rose, Pixie Girl, and Zack Storm, as well as Ghost Force, obviously, could actually show up, because Rose is technically in the Zag Heroes stuff, which is actually kind of interesting. Yeah, the exact details on who is in Zag Heroes is Pixie Girl, Ghost Force, Miss Rose, Power Players, Moonlight Hunters, Tales of Phaon, and Gaijin. And I think that's it. Wait, I think I might have missed something. I think Zack Storm is also in there, but I could be wrong. Cosmic Wrestlers is apparently in there. Legends, whatever that is. And yeah, Zack Storm. All of these characters could easily get in there because of the fact that they are the heroes. But as of right now, the only ones that have actually been confirmed that will 100% be in this is Ghost Force and Pixie Girl. So unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see exactly what is going on. But now that we actually know for a fact that this series, that these specials are coming this year, it has been 100% confirmed that the 3 specials, New York for sure has been confirmed. I think that the movie has also been confirmed for 2020, and most likely Shanghai will also be confirmed. I'm not 100% certain. No, it has not yet been. Shanghai has not been confirmed, but I still think that it's going to be. And the football one will also be confirmed. So knowing exactly what's going to be happening is almost impossible. But knowing this little information can help us to figure out what is going to be going on in the future. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you have any theories about Miraculous or My Hero Academia, make sure to leave them down in the comments below and use the hashtag #TheoryReview if you are going to leave a theory. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja, and I'll see you guys next time. Badon.